was the first time you felt like a professional? When was the first time you held a paycheck in your hand and thought, I deserve this. I earned this. I'm proud of this. 3 years ago, I moved to New Mexico from Pennsylvania to take the best job in the whole world. I'm the theater conservatory director at Working Classroom. Working Classroom is a nonprofit right here in Albuquerque. We nurture the artistic, civic, and academic minds of historically ignored youth. We do this through in-depth art, theater, and new media projects that cultivate diverse voices in the arts and demand a more equitable society. Most of our students live in the South Valley or the West Side. Many of their parents don't speak English. Most of them would be considered low income. These are the students the rest of the world might consider disadvantaged, underprivileged, and my least favorite, at risk. But at Working Classroom, we see students for what they are: professional, young artists. At Working Classroom, we believe that students have a voice that needs to be heard. We believe they are professionals now, they don't need to wait. And we believe that by investing in them, we're investing in their future. And in doing so, creating an environment where they believe they can do it. Whatever do it means is decided by them. Not all of our students are going to go on to be actors, directors, muralists. But what they will walk away from when they leave Working Classroom, when they graduate, is that they are worth it. They are worth people's time. They are worth people's money. And they are worth their own time and ability to invest in themselves. Currently, I'm producing a year-long project called Solving for X, the Education Project. With this project, we develop a new play inspired by the topic of educational equity right here in Albuquerque. We're doing this in collaboration with playwright-director Milton Ortiz and Scott Barrow from Tectonic Theater Project and the Working Classroom Theater Ensemble. Since February, I've been working with 4 incredible interns, ages 12 to 16, and we've been interviewing various stakeholders in education. We've been researching the topic both nationally and locally, and we've been training for over 100 hours with the best guest artists from around the country. Recently, we just added 8 cast members to the ensemble, ages 11 to 45. And they too have a hand in creating Solving for X, which premieres at the National Hispanic Cultural Center in February of 2017. And the best, most crazy part about this is that they're getting paid to do all of it. And it's more than just the money. It's the fact that when you give someone a paycheck, you are saying to them, you earned this. Your time and your skill are valuable. And we see it paid back in so many ways. Sometimes it's when they come in for 30 hours in a week to do a workshop with Tectonic Theater Project and then volunteer to do 5 more hours just to get the piece just right. Sometimes it's when one of my interns runs into the building and says, Meggan, I just heard my science teacher tell another student in my class that since he couldn't read his notebook that was written in Spanish, he couldn't grade it. He gave him an F. We need to put that in the play. Sometimes it means that they're just so excited to be at Working Classroom that they're in the room before I am. But it always means that they understand they are a part of this process. This is not a play where they simply memorize lines and or stand where they're told. This is a play where they create the characters, where they say, I want a transgender character in our play, where they say, I want a Latina character, but she's white, and that's really confusing for her. Where they say, I want a character who only speaks Spanish, and not because he doesn't understand English, but it's because it's simply the language he prefers. And they create it. They create this world. And what does that mean? Well, right now it means they're creating a play that speaks to them. But what does it mean for tomorrow? Nearly 100% of working classroom students graduate from high school. Nearly all of them go on to college with scholarships. Many of them are in schools in Los Angeles, New York, Chicago. And they do so because they believe they deserve it. They believe they can succeed. This is monumental in a district that has a 62% graduation rate, in a state that ranks dead last in the country for education. And it all comes back to seeing themselves as professionals. At 11 years old, they can walk through our doors and we can tell them, I see you. And what you say and think and do aren't important just to our organization, but to our collective future. There's a quote that says, students might be 20% of our population, but they are 100% of our future. I believe that. Everyone in this room has been a student at one time. Education has impacted all of our lives in both positive and negative ways. It is vital to be able to say, your future is important to us. Let us show you by investing in you. There's another quote from Augusto Boal, and he said, theater in itself is not revolutionary. It is a rehearsal for the revolution. We live in a society that too often wants artists and young people to work for free, that doesn't see students as a valuable resource, but rather a product that needs to be fit into a box. These students, these same students, will be our leaders, our innovators, our bosses. When these students write a play about education, they are also getting an education, and so am I. We are training alongside some of the best artists in the country as equals. And the students don't have to say, I want to do this, but I can't afford it. Or, how am I going to fit this into my schedule when I have to work to support my family? This is their work. This is their contribution, not just to their education, but to the future of their community. And we all benefit. We can't train for the Industrial Revolution anymore. It's time we train for the creative revolution. These students are creating a map for the future. And in this map, they get to lead us. At Working Classroom, we don't believe that students or that teachers know more than students. We've simply been around longer. I know I learn more from my students every day than they learn from me. I guarantee it. And when I get my paycheck, I'm able to look at it and think, I deserve this. I'm proud of this. So let me ask you again. When was the first time you felt like a professional? How old were you? And what difference would it have made if you felt that by the time you were 11 years old?